So, what if you wanted to control exactly how your program executed while it was going through a loop like you see here in the 4? For example, from lines 8 through 11, we're constantly executing this code block, specifically lines 9 and 10, as long as this condition is met. Now, just to review this, in our for loop, we're doing the following. We're setting our iterator to 1. So our loop is going to start, with the number 1. The first time is going to be 1. And while I, or our iterator, is less than 13, it's going to actually execute this code. So basically, effectively, lines 9 and lines 10 is going to execute 12 times. And our iterator, again, we're just incrementing it by 1 every time that we go through this line of code. So what if we wanted to stop this? What if we wanted to go in this block of code and put some kind of conditional logic in there? Well, we can. For some reason, if we wanted to stop this loop before it gets to 13, what we can do is we could put in a break statement. What break does is break will stop the iteration of this structure, of this for loop, whenever a condition is met. Let's take the following scenario. Let's say, for example, we have the scenario here where we're calculating the rent over the period of 12 months. How about we do the following? We don't do it over 12 months. We do it over the period of 120 months. Well, actually, you know what? Let's leave it 12 for now. So, as we're going through the loop, what we're doing is we're getting our monthly rent is equal to whatever the monthly rent was, and then we're adding it again. So basically what we're doing is we're accumulating or using what's called sometimes an accumulator to keep track of what our total rent is. Let's just add the following logic. How about we modify our program to say, rather than going through our iterator 12 times and figure out what our rent is for all 12 months, that we say, figure it out for 12 months or once we get to $5,000. And that's what we can do here. We can do something like the following. We can say if and then how about the following condition? We could say if monthly rent is greater than $5,000, we could put greater or equal to, but let's just keep it simple. And we could put in the following. If monthly rent is greater than $5,000, we could put in break. Now what break will do is break will completely get out of this for loop. And then what we can do is we can say, just to show you that it continues executing, we could put here, rather than hello world on line 4, let's get rid of this. This is kind of a relic of a example we did a long time ago. On line 12, we could say, how about this? We could say system.out line, and we'll say done processing. There we go. If I could spell it right, we'd be in better shape. There we go. So I'll let you take a look at this. Basically, this is saying in English that we're going to loop through this code 12 times unless the monthly rent gets to be more than $5,000 and we're going to break. So if I run this program, I should get the following. And here we go. Month 1, month 2, month 3, month 4, month 5, done processing. And we could say something else as well. Like, for example, we could say, how about something a little bit more verbose, such as say month number let's append I. So month number, whatever the month is, we'll append an open string or an empty string and then append the monthly rent. So we're just adding some, something a little bit more verbose as far as our output goes. So when we run the program, we can see month 1 is $906.34. Month 2, you can do the reading yourself. Month 3, month 4, month 5. And in month 5, we get $4,551. So the sixth iteration, what we're getting is adding to 4,531.70, we're adding 906. It's greater than 5,000 and we're breaking. So that's what break does. What break will do, again, in a nutshell, is break will exit the looping structure that you're in. And that's what break is for. So break allows us to put a condition in and determine exactly when we should break. Now, the cousin of break is called continue. With continue, what continue will do is it will ignore the loop for that one and only one iteration. Now, this is kind of hard to explain. So I'm just going to kind of get rid of this if here because I'm trying to think of a good example that we can kind of put forward with the example that we're using right now. So I'm going to go back to the way it was here. So we have our for loop. So let me go back to how it was. We got our for loop. And so I got rid of that break. So we should go through now months 1 through 12 again. So this is back to how it was before we started mucking with it with the break. And then we see some predictable output month 1 all the way through month 12, and it looks fine. Now what we can do is if we wanted is we could, and this isn't the best example in the world, we can choose at some iteration just to ignore the code. This can be kind of hard to illustrate, but let me just do something here. How about we do the following? For some reason, we want to ignore month 6. I don't know why. Come up with a good reason. You could use your imagination. For some reason, we want month 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and month 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And we wanted to skip month 6 for whatever reason. Maybe we can get a scenario that in a year, one of the months is going to be free. It's going to be a free month, and it doesn't matter which one it is. And we picked month number 6. So in this scenario, we can say that we have one free month that we give rent a year, and it's month number 6. I guess that would be about as good as we can come up with for an example. What we can do is rather than break out, with the example that we used before, out of our for loop, we can just ignore that one iteration. And to do that, you use the continue statement. Continue. So it would look something like this. We will say, how about after the for, we could say if, and we will say I is equal to, pardon me. We can say if I is equal to 6, and we can say continue. If I is equal to 6, continue. Let me explain to you what this double equals is in a second. Once we get it working, let me make sure I have no obvious syntax errors in here, and then we're going to run it again or go over that double equals. So let me run this program. Let me give this guy a run. Take a look at the output. Month 1, month 2, month 3, say that 10 times after a martini for dinner, right? Month 4, month 5, and look at month 6. Month 6 is gone. Where did month 6 go? Month 6 didn't happen because what we said here is if I equals 6, our iterator equals 6, continue. What continue does is it says ignore this code, go back up again, and continue iteration. That's what makes it different than break. Break says you're done. We're done iterating. Continue means we're done iterating for this one iteration, and then go back and start again. So in this example, I guess we're saying is ignore month 6 because month 6 is a free month anyway. So we would use a continue statement. Now, continue and break are different clauses or different commands that we use to get out of looping structures or to get out of a for loop or a while loop, some of which you probably haven't covered yet. We've covered 4 in this example. But continue and break are used in other places as well. So be aware of them and know what each of them do and know what each of them does and the functionality of each. And they allow us to get rid or to get out of our looping structures. So that's all I had for you in this short lecture here. So now you know how to get out of a looping structure. In this case, if you're in a for loop and you want to completely get out of it, you can use break. And the example that we used is we want to go through month 1 through 12 unless the rent gets to be greater than $5,000, and then we just want to stop. So that's what break does. Continue will get out of your current iteration. And the example that we used to demonstrate continue was we want to go month 1 through 12, but we want to ignore month 6. So break and continue work differently, but they both allow kind of the same sort of functionality insofar as putting code within a for loop or a looping structure. So thank you for watching my demo. Thank you for staying awake if you're still awake and you're still watching and you got this far. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me. And I bid you all a very well rest of the day. Thank you.